What if it's too late? The Stoic cure for wasting your life. Have you ever felt like life is passing you by, and you're not really living it? There's a quiet ache that many carry without words, a deep sense that time is slipping through their fingers while they go through the motions, completing tasks, answering messages, fulfilling responsibilities. But behind the noise of daily life, there's a silent truth. What matters most is being constantly postponed. Many people carry this hidden anxiety, a fear they rarely say out loud, but feel strongly in moments of stillness. What if I'm wasting my life? What if by the time I finally have the time to live fully, it's already too late? Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat this fear. It confronts it. It invites you to stop pretending you have all the time in the world and start living with urgency, clarity, and intention. One of its most powerful reminders is the Latin phrase, memento mori. Remember, you will die. But this isn't about doom or despair. It's about awakening. It's about honoring this moment, because this moment is the only one guaranteed. Every day you deny yourself is a day that never returns. Every minute spent living a version of you that pleases others but betrays your truth is a minute stolen from your real life. This video is an invitation, not to fear death, but to let death remind you to live, to stop drifting, to stop delaying, to start making choices that reflect who you truly are. You don't need a crisis, a diagnosis, or a breakdown to wake up. You just need awareness and the courage to act on it. Because deep down, you already know, the greatest tragedy isn't failing. The real tragedy is never having truly tried to live. Part 1. The silent pain of not really living. There's a kind of pain no one talks about. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't scream, it doesn't leave visible wounds, but it lingers, quietly, steadily, deep inside. It's the pain of feeling like you're not really living, like a part of you is asleep, buried beneath responsibilities, expectations, fears. And the most terrifying part? This pain often goes unnoticed, until it becomes unbearable. You might be surrounded by people, your calendar might be full, you might have a stable job, a comfortable routine, well-defined goals, and still, there's a strange emptiness that visits you in the quiet hours, when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, when Sunday night feels heavier than it should, when something inside whispers, "Is this all there is?" Stoicism doesn't promise to erase that emptiness. It doesn't offer magic answers or perfect solutions. Instead, it invites you to look at that pain, not as weakness, but as a signal that something inside you still longs to be alive. Because only those who carry unfulfilled potential feel this ache. And if faced with honesty, it can become a call, not to escape life, but to reclaim it. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Maybe you've spent years believing that truly living is a privilege for others, that you need to wait, that your turn will come, someday, that your job is to meet expectations, check boxes, and prove yourself before you can begin to be yourself. But here's the truth. You're already on stage. The time is already running. And your only real task is not to let your life slip away as a rehearsal for a show that never begins. The pain of not living fully is the soul's deepest alarm. It's the silent scream of someone who knows they've been holding themselves back. And nothing is more urgent than waking up from that, now. Because every day you stay asleep is another day you drift further from what truly matters. Part 2. What if it's too late? This question carries a different kind of weight. It's not just a doubt. It's a quiet fear that lingers beneath the surface of everyday life. What if, by the time I realize what truly matters, it's already too late? What if, when I'm finally ready to live with truth and depth, all I have left are the memories of what I never dared to do? Most people live as if life hasn't really started yet, as if the real part is somewhere up ahead. Once they earn more, once they finish school, once they meet the right person, once they retire, once things calm down. But life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. And the tragedy isn't that we die. The real tragedy is that many of us reach the end without ever having truly lived. Stoicism doesn't try to numb this fear. It invites you to feel it, to sit with it, to let it burn just enough to wake you up. Because that's what turns this fear into action. That's what shakes you out of numbness and forces you to ask, what am I doing with the little time I have? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." He didn't say this to scare us, but to remind us of the urgency of now. Not urgency as in stress or chaos, but urgency as in presence, intention, and clarity. The idea that it might be too late isn't meant to paralyze you. It's meant to set you free, free from hesitation, free from the illusion that you'll have a better time someday, free from waiting for permission, from living on autopilot, from postponing the life your soul is begging you to live. And yes, in a way, it is already late. It's too late to keep pretending you don't feel empty. Too late to keep suppressing the part of you that wants more than just survival. Too late to keep betraying your own aliveness to meet someone else's expectations. But it's not too late to change. Not too late to begin. If you begin now, and that decision, even made in the quiet of your own heart, even if no one else sees it, even if it's messy, can become the single moment where your real life finally starts. Part 3. Stoicism and the art of remembering death. Most people avoid thinking about death. It feels morbid, uncomfortable, unnecessary. Something for later. We're taught to live as if we're going to last forever, to push thoughts of our mortality far into the background while we chase achievements, check off tasks, and postpone the essential for some other time. But the Stoics did exactly the opposite. They embraced a daily reminder of death. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Not as a threat, not to live in fear, but as a way to wake up to what's real. To the Stoics, remembering death was a practice of life. It was a way to cut through the noise, to refocus on what truly matters, to strip away distractions and return to the present with clarity. Because when you accept that everything ends, including you start to live differently. You speak more honestly. You love more fully. You waste less time on what drains you. You begin to see each moment not as disposable, but as sacred. Seneca said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This isn't just philosophy. It's a mirror, a challenge, a wake-up call. Because it's not about how many years you live. It's about whether you actually showed up for your life. You can be 25 and already deeply awake, or 80 and still numb. Time is only valuable when it's lived with awareness. Memento mori doesn't demand we become obsessed with death. It invites us to stop taking life for granted, to stop treating our days as something to get through, to stop postponing joy, presence, or truth for a future that may never come. This reminder is not meant to scare you. It's meant to set you free. Free from superficiality, from pettiness, from wasting your life chasing things that don't feed your soul. When you remember you'll die, your ego shrinks, your grudges loosen, your fears lose power, and what remains is what matters. In remembering death, we learn how to live. Not later, not eventually. Now. Part 4. The illusion that life is somewhere ahead. Most people aren't fully alive. They're simply waiting for life to begin, for something to shift, for a better time, a better version of themselves, a better set of circumstances. It's a subtle illusion, but a powerful one. The belief that real life is always just a little further ahead. It starts early. We're told to study now so we can be someone later, work hard now so we can rest later, push through the present, because eventually things will fall into place. But what happens? The future becomes an ever-moving horizon, and in chasing it, we miss what's happening right in front of us. Stoicism cuts straight through that illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find eternity in each moment. The past is gone. The future is unknown. The only place life can truly be lived is now." But we've been trained to run from the now, because the now is often uncomfortable. It reveals what's lacking. It forces us to face choices we've avoided. It calls us into responsibility. So we project ourselves into some imagined, better future. We convince ourselves that joy, peace, or meaning are just one more accomplishment away. But the truth? A better life isn't waiting ahead. It's hidden in the way we choose to live this moment. This doesn't mean you shouldn't plan, dream, or work toward goals. But if your happiness is always in the next thing, the next job, relationship, trip, or achievement, you'll always be chasing and never arriving. You'll spend years in anticipation, and then realize you were never truly here. The Stoics remind us, you don't control when you die, but you do control whether you're awake while you're alive. And being awake doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you're no longer sleepwalking through your own life. Maybe you've been telling yourself that real life begins when things settle down, when you have more time, when you feel more ready. But what if this is it? What if the life you're waiting for isn't ahead, but waiting for you to notice it? This moment isn't a placeholder, it's the main event. And the sooner you break free from the illusion that life is somewhere else, the sooner you'll realize it's always been here. Part 5. The trap of when there's time. I'll do it when I have time. I'll take care of myself when things calm down. I'll be happy when everything is finally in place. These phrases sound harmless. They even feel responsible. But hidden beneath them is one of the most dangerous illusions of all, that we have unlimited time. And it's this lie that quietly steals our lives while we're busy waiting. The trap of when there's time is subtle. It disguises itself as logic, as patience, as maturity. But often, it's fear in disguise. Fear of failing, fear of change, fear of stepping outside the safety of routine. And while we wait for the perfect moment, life moves on. The world spins, seasons pass, and without realizing it, we begin to drift, farther from the life we were meant to live. Stoicism confronts this delusion head-on. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." We fear death, but we live as if we'll never die, as if we can keep postponing everything that truly matters. But you don't need a tragedy to see the truth. You just need honesty. If something is important to you, it deserves your time now. Not later. Not someday. Now. Delaying what matters sends a dangerous message to yourself. My life doesn't deserve priority. And the more you repeat that message, the more it becomes your reality. You shrink. You settle. You accept scraps of presence and call it enough. But here's the price of constant postponement. Time doesn't give back what you ignore. What you don't live, you lose. And what you lose silently becomes regret. You don't need to hit rock bottom to see this. You don't need a breakdown, a loss, or a diagnosis. You just need to stop lying to yourself, to stop hiding behind, "I'll do it when," and realize that when is an illusion, and now is all you've got. Stoicism isn't about rushing. It's about living deliberately, choosing with clarity, acting with purpose. Don't wait for life to give you permission. Don't wait for the time to be right. The time isn't coming. It's already here, and it's running out. Part 6. The urgency of purposeful action. There's a big difference between being busy and being alive. You can have a packed schedule, endless tasks, notifications buzzing all day, and still feel numb, still feel disconnected from your own existence. Most people are constantly moving, but very few are truly living. And the question that cuts through all the noise is this: why are you doing what you're doing? Stoicism doesn't glorify action for its own sake. It invites purposeful action, not rushed, not reactive, but meaningful, intentional. Because movement without direction is just distraction. It fills the silence, hides the discomfort, but it leads nowhere. Living on autopilot has become the default setting for many. Wake up, check your phone, rush through routines, fulfill expectations. Repeat. And all of it might look productive from the outside, but if there's no purpose behind the motion, it's just survival dressed up as discipline. Seneca warned us that life feels short when it's wasted on meaningless activity. And sometimes the urgency isn't to do more, it's to do what matters. Purposeful action starts with clarity. What are you actually working toward? Are your efforts aligned with your values? Are you building a life or just maintaining a performance? Epictetus wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is the Stoic blueprint. Decide who you want to be, and let your actions reflect that. Even in small decisions, even in how you spend an hour. Purpose is not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's found in quiet integrity, in showing up fully for a conversation, in saying no to what drains you, in reclaiming 5 minutes of presence in a chaotic day. Urgency doesn't mean anxiety. It means recognizing that every choice has weight. That time is not guaranteed. It means refusing to waste one more day on what empties you. You don't need to have it all figured out to act with purpose. You just need to stop living by default and start choosing, because every moment spent doing what doesn't matter is stolen from what does. Part 7. Stop waiting to be happy. Live with intention. One of the greatest lies we're taught is that happiness is something we'll reach one day, as if it's a destination waiting at the end of a long road filled with accomplishments, sacrifices, and perfect conditions. We grow up believing that someday, when everything aligns, when we've done enough, earned enough, become enough, then we'll finally feel happy. But the Stoics would disagree. Happiness isn't a finish line, it's a way of walking. It's not about waiting for life to start treating you better. It's about choosing to live better, starting now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and your thoughts are shaped by where you place your attention, your values, your energy." Waiting to be happy is just another way of avoiding the present. It's another version of postponement, dressed up in hope, but rooted in fear. We say things like, "I'll be happy when I'm less stressed, when I get that job, when I find the right partner." But life doesn't promise those things. And even if they come, there will always be something else missing if you haven't learned how to live with intention. Living with intention means choosing what matters now, even if your circumstances aren't ideal. It means refusing to be a passive character in your own story. It means deciding that joy isn't something the world hands you. It's something you cultivate with awareness. This doesn't mean pretending everything's fine when it's not. It means recognizing that you can still choose how to live, even in the mess. It means finding presence in the ordinary, gratitude in the imperfect, strength in the unfinished. Intention is what turns routine into ritual. It's what turns a simple day into a meaningful one. It's what turns survival into life. So stop waiting for happiness like it's a gift to be delivered someday. Build it. Live it. Moment by moment. Choice by choice. The future you're dreaming of isn't waiting for you out there. It's waiting for you to show up. Here. Part 8. What really matters when nothing else does. When life breaks, when the job disappears, the relationship ends, the plans fall apart, we're left standing in silence, stripped of everything we thought was solid. And in that stillness, a question echoes with sharp clarity. What actually matters? It's a painful moment, but a revealing one. Because when the noise fades and the illusion of control dissolves, what remains isn't your title, your income, or your achievements. What remains is who you are, your integrity, your values, the depth of your character when there's nothing left to perform for. Most people go through life collecting accomplishments, possessions, praise. But the Stoics knew that in the end, almost all of that is dust. Seneca said, "The wise man regards wealth as a slave, not a master. Because what's truly yours, what can't be taken, isn't what you own. It's what you've built inside." When everything around you crumbles, what really matters is your ability to be kind when no one's watching, to stay grounded when others panic, to remain true to yourself when the world tells you to conform. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's real. And it lasts. The Stoics never promised a life free from pain. What they offered was strength for the storm. They taught that peace doesn't come from stability, but from clarity, from knowing what matters and what doesn't, from refusing to betray your soul for things that fade. If you've ever faced a personal collapse, you've felt this. You've looked at the pieces of your life and realized that half of it was built on expectation, fear, or ego. But you don't have to lose everything to learn this. You can ask the question now, what will still matter when everything else falls away? The answer won't be found in your resume. It won't be in your social media or your bank account. It will be in how you lived, how present you were, how deeply you loved, how fiercely you protected what was sacred to you. Living with that awareness isn't just wise, it's urgent. Because the collapse isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's slow, quiet, a life diluted by distractions until nothing real remains. So ask now, choose now, build a life that still holds meaning, even in silence. Part 9. Regrets from those who ran out of time. There's a unique kind of wisdom that comes from people who know their time is almost up. When someone reaches the end of their life, their words shift. They speak with a kind of raw clarity that most of us only find in moments of crisis. And what they say, or more importantly, what they regret, deserves our full attention. Because here's what's striking. Most people don't regret what they did. They regret what they didn't do. They regret the words they didn't say, the love they didn't express, the passions they silenced, the dreams they kept on a shelf for someday. No one at the end of their life wishes they had spent more time answering emails. No one regrets not being more efficient in meetings. What breaks their hearts is what they postponed, often in the name of being realistic or responsible. The Stoics urge us to learn from this before we reach that final moment. Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." But most people don't, not because they're weak, but because they're distracted, numb, caught in routines that slowly erase their aliveness. We assume there will always be more time, more chances, more years to make it right. But the truth is, no one knows how much time they have. And the most dangerous thing isn't dying, it's never having truly lived. Regret is what happens when you wake up too late. And the most painful part isn't what's lost. It's realizing that it could have been different, that the power was in your hands all along, that you didn't need permission to be honest, to be brave, to be yourself. But here's the gift hidden in this truth. You're not at the end, not yet. And that means you have something precious that those at the edge would give anything for: time. Use it. Don't waste it proving yourself to people who don't see you. Don't spend it chasing a version of success that leaves your soul empty. Don't delay the words, the choices, the steps that your heart already knows you need to take. Let the regrets of others be your wake-up call, not your prophecy. Part 10. You're alive, and that's already late enough to begin. If you've come this far, it means something inside you is tired of waiting, tired of pushing your truth aside, tired of telling yourself that you'll start later, speak up later, live differently later. But here's what you need to hear now, with full urgency and compassion. You're alive. And that's already late enough to begin. Stoicism doesn't care how many years you've lost. It doesn't shame you for being distracted, afraid, or stuck. It simply asks one thing: what will you do with the time you still have? Marcus Aurelius said, "Stop debating what a good person should be, and just be one." This is the heart of Stoicism. Don't overthink. Don't delay. Act. Live. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but fully. Because every breath you take is a miracle. Every moment of awareness is an invitation to start again. You don't need a complete plan to move forward. You don't need to heal everything before you begin. You just need to stop ignoring the part of you that knows you've waited long enough. Living with purpose doesn't require dramatic change. It starts in the quietest ways, in how you speak to yourself, in the way you greet the morning, in the boundaries you honor, in the joy you stop postponing, in the decision to say, "No more hiding." It's not too late in the ultimate sense, but it is late enough to stop wasting time on things that don't matter. Late enough to stop betraying yourself for approval. Late enough to stop surviving when you're meant to be alive. Death will come. It comes for all of us. But you don't have to die having only existed. You can die having lived, with truth, with presence, with courage. And if you feel something rising inside you now, a pull, a fire, a knowing, don't silence it. That's your soul reminding you that this life is yours, and it's not too late, but it is time. If this message resonated with you, don't let it fade away. Subscribe now and join this journey of depth, courage, and conscious living. New videos every week to help you live intentionally before it's too late.